Okay, driver's education, chapter 4. This is chapters on managing risk with the IPDE process. So the IPDE process is a organized system of seeing, thinking, and responding, and helps you to try to focus on not having bad habits. I don't think that necessarily when you're driving, you're always constantly thinking, out loud, I identify, predict, decide, or execute, but it's more of something that just occurs kind of naturally as you're driving. So it's good to think about these types of things. So it's a system. Drivers who use some kind of organized system will have less close calls and collisions. Good searching habits and the ability to manage space on the roadway are two basic tools for low risk driving. All activities throughout a person's life have some degree of risk. And risk factors can be contributed by the driver, by a vehicle, the roadway, and an environment. So what are some examples of driver contributed factors are? Always adjusting the radio, being angry, not having control of your emotions when you're driving, blurred vision. Obviously, this could be from drinking and driving under the influence of any drugs. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep at night, so you're tired. Combing your hair while driving is a distraction. Putting on makeup, eating cereal, using a cell phone is definitely a distraction. So you want to avoid all those things when you're driving. Other drivers can increase or decrease your level of risk and chance of conflict. Risks of ownership and responsibility of a car, bald tires, poorly adjusted brakes, dirty windshield, broken headlights, and worn wiper blades. There are contributing factors by the roadway and the environment, which include things like bright sun, makes it difficult to see, construction, going through the construction zone, or any type of construction, dark shadows, when you drive in snow, when you drive in ice, and on sharp curves. So safe driving depends on your ability to see and analyze traffic situations correctly. Driving is a thinking task. If a driver deliberately takes chances, they not only put themselves at risk, but also others a high degree of risk. Good drivers make every effort to manage their risk and in order to lower the probability of conflict and then thus enjoy more stress-free driving. So two systems for safe, low-risk driving, the IPDE process and the zone control system. Safe driving depends on your ability to see and analyze traffic situations correctly. So identify, predict, decide, and execute. Good seeing habits are the basic critical factors necessary for staying out of high-risk situations. The driving task is primarily a thinking task. Which way are your habits going? Are you following good habits when you're driving? Or are you following bad habits when you're driving? So you're going to identify, use a visual search pattern. You're going to predict using your knowledge, judgment, and experience. You're going to decide to use one or more actions. And then you're going to execute. So you're reading the traffic situation. Under the zone control system, it's an organized method for managing 6 zones of space surrounding your vehicle. The zone control system allows you to see and respond to changes in the traffic environment at a time when best control can be achieved. The structure of the zone control system includes the following steps. See a zone change, okay? Check other zones, create time and space by getting the best speed control, lane position, and communication. So as you're driving down the road, you don't want to be looking over the hood of your car. You're looking far down the road. And you should be looking at your rear view mirror occasionally, checking what's behind you, back up to the front, occasionally checking and alternating with your speedometer. So you have all three things. You're focused on what's in front, check the rear view mirror, back up to the front. And then next time, instead of looking in the rear view mirror, I would check my speedometer, make sure I'm not speeding, and then I'm back up to the front. And I'm constantly making sure that I know what's in front of me, what's behind me, and then also so I'm not speeding. So using the IPD process in conjunction with the zone control system will help you develop behaviors that will make you a safe and responsible driver. The identify and predict steps of the IPD process are critical in every driving environment. So first step is to identify. A zone is one of the 6 areas of space around a vehicle that is the width of a lane and extends as far as the driver can see. An open zone is a space where you can drive without a restriction to your line of sight or your intended path of travel. So a red light would be a closed zone, right? Or if you're pulled up to a stop sign and you're going to go left, and you look to your right and you can't really see because of a bush or a tree or whatever, you might have to roll up and do a second stop. So you have an open zone. So you know for sure. You cannot guess when you're going to leave that stop sign and think, well, I don't think anybody's coming here. No, that's not a good solution. You have to know. Your line of sight is the distance you can see ahead and the direction you are looking. The target area is the section of the roadway where the target is located in the center of your intended path, and the area to the right and left. A closed zone is a space not open to you because of a restriction, such as a red traffic light. Okay, searching your zones. You're going to search target area range, the 12 to 15 second range, and then the 4 to 6 second range. And then that's your central vision. And then you're looking at your, the side vision, side streets, that's your peripheral vision. So as you're driving down the road, you don't need to be constantly moving your head left and right, back and forth. That's a distraction that could lead you to potential problems. Sometimes I would say that's over cautious, which is contributing to probability of causing some problems. What you need to be doing as you're driving is looking far down the road, anticipating conflicts, and then using your peripheral vision, right? If you absolutely see some car that's coming really fast that you know for sure is not going to get stopped, then you put your foot over the brake and cover it and be prepared to stop. But also, I don't think you want to overcompensate by constantly flipping your head back on every side street. That would be overkill, I think. An orderly visual search patterns is a process of searching critical areas in a regular sequence. Different driving environments and traffic situations present a variety of search patterns. The area you can see around while looking straight is called your field of vision. Depth perception is your ability to judge the relative distance of objects correctly. And scanning is continuing and quickly with very brief fixations through your orderly visual search pattern. Ground viewing is making quick glances to the roadway in front of your vehicle. A hill is an example of a line of sight restriction, which could hide a closed zone as you go over the hill. So for example, if you're traveling in the right lane and you were trying to figure out if you're going to pass another vehicle and you can't see over the hill whether another car is coming, then you got to stay in your lane. You don't pass because you don't know for sure. So, use the idea of open zone, closed zone, and you don't want to take chances. So we're talking about roadway surfaces here. Once you identify a hazard, predict how this hazard might affect your intended path of travel. And you predict when points of conflict can occur. Speed is the most important factor in maintaining control of your vehicle. So one thing I've learned over the years, as I've gotten older and then been a driver's ed teacher, is the number one thing that I'm told about when people have a collision is it happens fast. It happens fast, right? So you're not going to have time to put your seatbelt on after the collision is already in the process of happening. you're not going to have time to reach over and put your friend's seatbelt on as the time that the crash is going to be occurring. So you got to have all that stuff done before. And the main thing here is like, right, that, you know, speed is something that can get you in a lot of trouble. So keep your speed down. The basic requirement for vehicle traction, vehicle control is traction. Always try to judge and compare the possible consequences before deciding on the best action. So decide and execute. Once you identified a situation and predicted a possible conflict, then you decide on an action. It's a mental task. Okay, so do I brake? Do I steer? Do I accelerate? What do I do to avoid the conflict? And then the last step is execute. That means you're carrying out. You're actually putting your foot on the brake. You're turning the wheel. Okay, the area around your vehicle is called a space cushion. 3 parts of deciding. You decide to change speed, decide to change direction, decide to communicate, and then look at the different lane positions here. Normal lane position is 1. It's in the center of the lane. A lane position 2 is a little bit over to the left. Lane position 3 is a little bit over to the right. So always, when you minimize a hazard, you reduce the possibility of conflict by deciding to put more distance between yourself and that hazard. So that could mean getting over the left or getting over the right, whatever you're trying to minimize. So let's say you have two things. You have 2 things that you have to deal with. So one thing you can do is called separate the hazard. So if you're driving on the road, there's a bicycle in front of you, and there's another car coming. You have to wait behind the bicycle until the car goes by before then you can go. So you separate the hazard. You deal with one at a time. Compromise space means you reduce risk by giving as much space as possible to the greater of 2 more hazards if you're dealing with 2 hazards at the same time. 7 ways you can decide to communicate with others. Headlights, tail lights, brake lights, turn signals, parking lights, hazard flashers, backup lights, your horn, position of your vehicle in the lane, and then eye contact and body movement. So what do I mean by eye contact and body movement? Let's take, for example, at a 4-way stop. First person who gets there goes first. There's a tie. It's the person on your immediate right. Let's say you don't know, right? Then you might just catch eye contact with the person, motion them on, and be a courteous driver. That's what I mean. Turn signals. You should use your turn signal 3 to 5 seconds before making any change in direction. Practice is necessary for any new skill. All right, thank you.